Jason, I need to hit you with questions about Australia right off the bat because so one of my first jobs was I was a sports information director at a college that I went to. And for whatever reason, our coach for the women's basketball team, the team that I traveled with, they used to recruit a lot of Australian girls. We had one from Melbourne, one from Adelaide, and one from Sydney, one of whom plays professionally now. And they've all said, you got to go to Australia. Another friend of mine who's Greek in Australia, he's like, you got to go to Australia. What is it about Australia that, because I do want to go at some point. I do want to go. Shantelle and I were just talking about this off air. But what is it specifically that I need to go out there and see and feel and just sort of be a part of?
Oh, mate, you have to come. You have to come. I don't know exactly if I can pinpoint sort of one reason, but it really is, in my eyes, the best country in the world. I feel blessed to have been born in Australia and to grow up in Australia. It's paradise. I'm originally from Melbourne, which I love. I still sort of feel as though Melbourne is my home. It's where all my family is, and most of my friends are in Melbourne. But right now, I live in northern New South Wales, and I live on one of the most beautiful beaches in the entire world. I can just walk there and spend a lot of time there with my family, which is amazing. And it is so beautiful. And anytime I travel overseas or go on a holiday, and go to places like Mexico or anywhere with that's known to have beautiful beaches, I go there and I'm just like, this is beautiful. I love it, but Australia's got you guys covered easy. It's the most, it is just the most, beautiful, picturesque country in the world, and everything's so clean, and the people are nice. So come down and check it out.
And I would assume that you would say go check out Melbourne specifically, probably first, right?
Yeah, that's an amazing city. Its weather isn't as good as where I live now, and the beaches in Melbourne aren't as good as where I live now. I live sort of right on the Gold Coast, near sort of between Byron Bay and the Gold Coast, which are two of the most beautiful places in the world. So, I would suggest you come up there as well. But yeah, I love Melbourne. I've always got a soft spot for Melbourne because that's my hometown.
Wanted to ask you about Australian boxing, because I feel like in watching it from afar that it's grown a lot over the years. And for people who don't know, when watching this, if you look up the top Australian boxers in the world according to BoxRec, you were second behind George Kambosos. I feel like that's noteworthy, right? And you
Yeah.
probably become first after winning this world title. But the atmosphere always looks very enjoyable. And you fought as the co-feature, if I'm not mistaken, on
Yep.
both of the George Kambosos Devin Haney fights.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've seen it grow over the years. Could you explain just like why that's happening? Why do I feel like there's more Australian fighters coming out? You see more prospects coming out of Australia who are on the cusp of competing for world titles. Tim Zhu being another one that's very recent. And like what's really going on out there?
Yeah, we're going through a really, really exciting phase. It's for me, as I've mentioned, I love boxing, and it's not really a sport that we get spoken about or gets much media attention or that much following in Australia, which is something that I've always wanted to change. And we've started to go through a real, I guess, golden era, or a really exciting phase where we've got a lot of good fighters coming through, and with George Kambosos becoming undisputed and bringing those big shows down under. And it was incredible for me to be involved in those shows, and it got everyone talking. Everyone started to follow boxing and started to support our fighters, which is exactly what I want. And it's what I want to keep happening. So I think when people see the success that someone has, it helps inspire them and show them that this can be done. And all these other fighters coming through now are going, we can do this. Even though we're from, a not very boxing strong nation, we can go over and fight on the big stage and win world titles and put on these massive events in our own country and bring the big names like Devin Haney over to Australia and put on these huge shows. And that's something that definitely motivates me, and I know motivates a lot of the other fighters coming through, is that we can win these world titles and put on these big shows, and Australia will get behind you and support you. And they are. And it's amazing the level of support that I'm getting already. But I know that once I become world champion and bring those belts back to Australia, that support's just going to grow and grow. And it's such an exciting place to be. And yeah, we've got some great talent coming through. A lot of good people that are on the cusp of winning those world titles. We've got a couple of world champions at the moment, a couple of male and female world champions at the moment. But,
Right.
if I can win a belt, my brother can win a belt. George Kambosos can get back into that title picture. We've got other guys that are right on the cusp, sitting at sort of 1 or 2 in the world. And the more success we have, I know the more Australia is going to get behind us. So it's a really exciting place to be. And I can't wait to watch it grow and to be a big part of it.
So, Jason, I got a little bit of inside scoop. I had to hit up my cousins down in Australia, huge boxing fans. And we were talking about the boxers, obviously, that have made a big name in the country. And my question to you is, like Tim Tszyu right now is becoming a really big household name. He said about you and your brother that there is a lot of buzz on you guys heading into next month. How does that make you feel knowing that, you're repping your country, you guys both have an opportunity to win world titles, and most importantly, everything that you guys have been through leading up to this moment?
Yeah, it's really special to have the support of my country. Obviously I love boxing, I love Australia, and I want the country to get behind me. And I'm not just doing this for me, I'm doing this for us all, and I want to bring these belts home to Australia and to help grow the sport and inspire that younger generation and show them what we can do. So it's very special. And I feel like me and my brother don't quite have that profile in Australia yet. We don't quite get the support that we perhaps feel we deserve, because a lot of our fights have been overseas, and I love fighting in America. I really do. But when we do that, we don't get to we don't get the media attention, or we don't get the people coming to the boxing, and we don't quite have the following down under that we probably deserve. So for us to win these world titles and bring them home and then start holding our own shows down there, that's really going to help us and get the whole country behind us and get them all excited. So this is the start of this process. But I'm really excited for what's next.
Yeah, I was talking to my cousin Gav. Shout out to Gav from Sydney. And he was like, "Listen, there's a lot of buzz around the Maloney brothers, and they're really excited for you guys. So you guys are gonna definitely have a whole country behind you, especially for next month. So it's exciting."